I'm Archie Holloman, and we're glad that you could join us once again. Today is Wednesday, February 26th in the year 2020, and it's cold outside. So it's a wonderful day, a wonderful evening to sit back, relax, get yourself some hot cocoa or some hot tea, and just relax and enjoy this great music. Our special guest today is Kevin Jones and the 10th World Trio. And here they are, right here on Time to Talk. Yeah, you're listening to Kevin Jones and the 10th World Trio right here on Time to Talk. That's our a special guest for today. And let me just tell you about Kevin Jones, okay? And now usually I don't have to look at my phone or look at a teleprompter or look at any notes to tell you about somebody's biography. But with Kevin, I'm going to have to do that today, okay? He has an extensive biography, and we are just so glad to have him and the 10th World Trio here with us. Now, Kevin Bujo Jones started playing African drums and congos at the age of 10. That is very young. He grew up in Inglewood, New Jersey, an enclave of music royalty. We know a lot of music comes out of New Jersey. He started touring at the age of 13. He studied at NYC's Jazzmobile, a cultural institution. His first recording date was in 1978. He was only 18 at the time, with Charles McPherson. Jazz lovers know that name. Okay, the first jazz tour of Europe at age 19 in 1979. Then he started playing with the Isley Brothers. Come on now, y'all know the Isley Brothers, and this was at the age of 20. He toured and recorded with the Isley and Isley Jasper Isley, when they changed the group up a bit. Yeah, did a little change. It still was good, for 13 years total. Then, listen to this, he was working with Whitney Houston, the late, great Whitney Houston, from 1986 through 1990. And he continued to study with master African drummers. He toured with jazz drummer Bernard Harper from 2000 to the present. He toured with jazz saxophonist Talib Kibwe during the same time period. Also toured and taught with legendary jazz bassist Reggie Workman in the early 2000s. Now, Kevin not only is a musician, and he has many other awesome musicians here today with him, and we're going to talk to them too, but he also teaches, and teaching is a passion of his. And he started teaching in NYC public schools from 1999 until 2016. He moved to Grand Rapids in 2016. He taught at Cook Art Center Poppin program in Muskegon, Western Michigan University, the Jazz and Creative Institute, Kalamazoo, Triumph Music Academy, and clinics at Michigan State University, working locally with artists from the area, Kathy Lamar, Grupo Orquesta Ritmo. Puerto Rico. And then, of course, he formed his own band called 10th World back in 2000 with the help of pianist Kelvin Scholar, and he reformed it recently using many local musicians 4 years ago. Right. And we want to welcome Kevin Jones and 10th World Trio. So Kevin, come on up to the mic and say something for us. You have such an extensive background. Music has been in your history all your life, right?
Yes, it has. I'm going to step around here because there's too many things in the way over here with this cord. But, excuse me. So I grew up in a family of musicians, and my brother was a guitar player, and that's what inspired me to want to play, because I felt like I didn't want to be left out. So
right.
Originally, but my grandmother was a pianist and used to make money for her family. on my dad's side, she played with, at one time, she played with Bessie Smith, you know, the mother of the blues.
Right.
And so, but she would also make money going to Kansas City and playing in the theaters. At that particular time, there weren't any sound recordings, you know, so they would hire musicians to play in the theaters for plays or for even, you know, very primitive movies when movies first came out. So, yeah. So I have music in my blood, but also it was sort of the area that I grew up in. I grew up in an area that had an abundance of musicians. That grew up in my town. We had Dizzy Gillespie was living in my town, and who else? Sarah Vaughan lived in Englewood. We had a recording studio there called All Platinum Records, and Joe and Sylvia Robinson owned that recording studio. I don't know if you remember, Sylvia Robinson put out a record called Pillow Talk.
Okay, yeah. Right.
Back then, that was risque. So, and also the Isley Brothers lived in the same town that I lived in. They went to school with my older brothers and sisters,
Okay.
the younger
That's
set of
very
brothers.
interesting.
And they all lived in the same area. Phoebe Snow also lived in Teaneck, in the next town over. We had just a multitude of musicians, and so it was these two brothers that lived down the street that played drums. Earl Buster Smith, who used to play with Eric Dolphy and Ruth Brown.
Okay.
And a lot of different types of Oscar Denard and Jamil Nasser. And so he also had a younger brother named Marvin Smith, who was closer to my age. And so we used to hang out together all the time. And they were kind of like my teachers. They showed me the ropes. They introduced me to different people in the jazz world, especially.
So you had all these people right in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, Sam Rivers lived around. Sam Rivers is a saxophone player, and he lived around the corner from me. The Five Stair Steps. Do you remember Five Stair Steps? The singing group?
I remember.
Oh, so the Five Stair Steps, they lived catty corner to when they moved from Chicago and got based in on the East Coast. They lived kitty corner across the street from my house. So we could talk, we could yell over, hey, you want to come over and do some recording or do some, you know, let's jam. I'll see you, I'll be over there in 10 minutes, you know, that kind of
I had
thing.
to have music going on day and night.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like that. We drove our neighbors crazy.
Oh, all right. Right now, I want you to just introduce the other two members, but we're going to find out more about them after your next song, but just tell us their names and everything like that.
Well, it's kind of hard not to say anything about them.
I know. That's why I want you to just introduce their names. They're awesome people, and then after this next piece, we're going to get more into who they really are.
Okay, that's great.
So that people can know.
All right. Well, that's the best thing about them. Beside their very talented selves, we have Mr. Elgin Vines on the bass.
All right, yay.
And Mr. Ivan Akansima
Yeah.
on the piano, electric
All
piano
right.
today. So
What's your next piece?
I don't know what you want to do.
I love you.
I love you. I do love you guys.
Okay. Kevin Jones and the 10th World Trio. the Kevin Jones and 10th World Trio right here on Time to Talk today. We're live today on February 26th, 2020, and we're celebrating the end of Black History Month, African American History Month. We're doing it all, and we're celebrating jazz. Jazz is a part of our African American culture, and we have a legend, a jazz legend, right here in our studio, and that is Elgin Vines. And way back when I started in broadcasting and radio broadcasting, the first music I was playing was jazz. My show was called Jazz and More. And one of the names I would always hear is Elgin Vines. Welcome, Mr. Vines, to Time to Talk.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, my musical history started differently. I didn't start as a bass player. I started as a woodwind player. I played clarinet and saxophone in high school, and I played clarinet and saxophone in college as well. But when I got to college, the band director was a bass player. So he offered me a deal. He came to me one day and said, "You know, I think you make a good bass player." He said, "My problem is that I have a lot of gigs, casual gigs that I have to play because I'm part of a symphony. If you were to take those casual gigs for me, I would teach you bass for a year." I said, "Sound like a deal to me." So he taught me bass for a year. And that was history. From there, it went on, that was history. And then while I was still in college, after having had that training from him, I was doing television work 5 days a week.
Okay.
And from there, everything just snowballed. And I finished college and went into the medical field, but I was still playing music. And I got connected with an excellent piano player named Dick Morgan. And I played with Margie Day and Ruth Brown, that whole group of people.
Yes.
Did recording with a lot of local people. And so it went from there, and I got with this group called The New Direction, and we traveled all over the country and all over the Caribbean and all over every place. And one day, we were working at upstate New York at the Concord Hotel. This is where all of the famous people came to perform.
Mm-hmm.
You name them, they were there. So was there for about 2 years and a half, and I got to meet all the new people here. And I worked in a hospital during the day and I played music at night. So one night, Frank Sinatra came through with his group.
Frank Sinatra?
Frank Sinatra was doing
Okay.
he was doing a show there. So they stopped to listen to the group, and they left. But they came back later and listened some more. The next morning, the hotel director, manager says, "I want that group. I need that group for my party in Miami." So the director of the hotel says, "I have to let you guys go for 4 days." So we ended up playing in Miami Beach for 4 days. There was Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, you name all those guys.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was at that show. And it went on from there, and I got to play also with his son also during that time.
Okay.
And I've gone to Europe with Edie Evan-Hyde, played in Italy with Edie Evan-Hyde. I did all our local stuff around town. So I've been doing a lot of stuff around here. So
Okay.
yeah, trying to stay busy.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Kevin, why don't you come over with Mr. Elgin and just tell us your connection and also how important it is that we have somebody like a Elgin Vines in our community.
Well, you know, it's very rare these days to know someone and to be connected with people who live the music.
Yes.
Obviously, as Elgin just said, that he was around. And I don't want to give his age away.
Okay.
But you know, he was around when this music was. He was around the legends of the music, and whenever you can rub shoulders or ask questions about, to someone like Mr. Vines.
Yes.
It's a great day.
Yes,
because
it
this
is.
music is so important, to us as Americans. Jazz, the great, now late great jazz saxophonist, Mr. Jimmy Heath, always said that jazz is the greatest form of democracy that we have,
Yes.
because everybody gets a say. Everybody pitches in. Everybody.
There's a role for everybody.
There's a role for everybody, and everybody gets a chance to say something in a particular piece of
In
music.
their own way.
Yeah, in their own way. So, it's a very democratic, process playing this
It's a
music.
great equalizer, isn't it?
Right, because we have to listen, but we also have to interject our point of view. So, Ivan might play something, and I'll hear something, and I'll answer him back.
Right.
Or Elgin might play something, and Ivan, oh, you're going to go there. Oh, okay. So it's like a conversation, and you can't have a conversation unless you're listening. So, just being around someone like the great Jimmy Heath, or Mr. Vines, or Frank Foster, or a lot of these elder statesmen, Mr. Reggie Workman, Archie Shepp, the people that I've been around, I learned a lot about the music that's more than just the notes, or the harmony, because of, its significance in our culture. It's a part of our culture, and we shouldn't lose that. And it's very important for us to keep that going.
And to keep that alive.
Elgin and I both play with another pianist here locally named Robin Connell, and recently we've been bringing jazz programs into the schools. And
That's important because we need to keep jazz alive, right?
yeah, it's a beautiful art form, and you meet different people. You can. The thing is, jazz grew out of the African American experience, the black experience here in the United States.
Yes.
It grew from the field hollers and blues and gospel music. Its roots are in Africa. But it's open to everyone. That's the other democratic part of jazz. It's a democracy. Anybody can participate.
Right.
Anybody.
Right. And
We
it's
could be on
worldwide. Jazz is known worldwide. What's the next piece you're going to do for us? And once you play that piece, then we're going to go to a break. But and we're so glad to have Elgin Vines with us today. And then we're going to hear from Ivan, who comes to us all the way from Uganda. And so what's
By
the
way of
next piece?
Kalamazoo.
And by way of Kalamazoo, yeah.
Let's do a bossa. We're gonna do a bossa nova.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll figure it out when I sit down.
Okay. So Kevin Jones and the 10th World Trio on Time to Talk today. Trio on Time to Talk. I'm Margie Howman. We'll be right back after this break.
Why do local businesses spend their marketing dollars with Community Media Center? Because it's more than just passive advertising. It is an investment in the community that is eager to invest in you. The Community Media Center makes Grand Rapids vital. We collaborate with local businesses and support events in West Michigan. Inclusive. We amplify local voices that tell the diverse and ever-changing stories of our community. Creative. We encourage artists to showcase and expand their talents and to shape the look and sound of Grand Rapids. Marketing with the CMC will let our community know who you are and increase brand recognition for your business. At the end of the day, we are a resource that will keep you connected to the community. Share your message with diverse audiences by underwriting with WYCE, GRTV, Wealthy Theater, and the Rapidian. Join us in building a stronger community through media. Contact us at marketing@grcmc.org.
Hi, my name is Haley DeMock, and I am an intern here at GRTV. Every week, I get to participate in a number of things around the station. I have gotten hands-on experience in setting up a TV studio, learning about sound and lighting equipment, and working with top editing programs. This internship works closely with local nonprofit organizations to film weekly public service announcements to help them in their efforts. Along with a collaborative team environment, GRTV interns are allowed to pitch and implement project ideas to work on during their time here. As a film student at Grand Valley State University, I have found GRTV to be a wonderful place to grow in my film skills. The station has worked with me, making it possible to focus on my area of study, post-production editing, while still giving me experience working in other areas of the film industry. I also get college credit. Sounds like a great opportunity, right? Along with the skills learned through the internship, you also get a GRTV membership. Perks of the membership include access to the studio, editing suites, and film equipment, and a discount at the Wealthy Theater in downtown Grand Rapids. If you're interested in becoming an intern here at GRTV, visit grcmc.org. That's grcmc.org. Click the About tabs and scroll down to the job and internships. We hope to see you here.
Welcome back to Time to Talk. I'm Margie Howman. You can watch Time to Talk live every second and fourth Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on GRTV, Comcast Cable 25. You can also go to YouTube and see our shows. If you missed them, you can go to YouTube and then search Time to Talk with R.G. Howman, and you can catch up with all the shows. And also, you can email us if you'd like to be on the show or if you'd like to be a part of our crew. We can bring you down here and show you all the things that we do, and you can take some training here and have a wonderful time like we're having today. And we are so glad to have our special guest, Kevin Jones, and the 10th World Trio. And Kevin, you all are doing an awesome job, and this is your first time on Time to Talk, but I'm telling you, it won't be your last.
I hope not.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And right now, you're living in Kalamazoo?
No, I live in
somewhere?
I live here in Grand Rapids.
Okay, living in Grand Rapids.
Yes.
And tell us more about our next player that you have. You have a larger band. You have a smaller band. You have a larger band. This is the trio today.
Yes.
Okay. And then our next guest is Ivan. I
So-
can see man. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Welcome. Welcome from Uganda by way of Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, Ivan is a multi-instrumentalist. You know, Ivan plays not only piano, but he's an excellent guitarist. He's an
You
excellent
didn't bring your
bassist.
guitar today.
Well, you know, he only has two hands. You know,
Okay.
so
Okay.
you know,
We'll
unless
let
we
it
start,
slide today.
yeah, we have
Okay.
to, you know, unless he starts growing arms out the back, you know, then,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And then he plays
Yeah.
bass. He also plays percussion. He plays a number of African instruments indigenous to his country, and you know, he's above all. These two people are awesome people.
Yes,
and
I can
I
see
really
that.
like to work with people that touch my heart,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and not just great. There's a lot of great players out there, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that have technique and knowledge and skill, but you know, not everybody touches your heart,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you know, really, really great people,
Right.
and really easy and fun to work with.
That's good.
And always smiling, and you know.
How did you get introduced to jazz, Ivan?
Oh, so,
So I got introduced to jazz when I was about, I think it was around 16 years of age. Back home in my country, Uganda, I had a friend of mine who worked for a telecommunication company, phone company, and he's a great computer, guy. And he just came up to my house one day and brought me this CD. He said, "Hey, Ivan, I just made this MP3 CD. I put as much as I could find. I found this music called jazz. It sounded crazy. I don't understand this. But I thought about you. I thought you would be the person that would understand such music. So I turned it into, those days, my CD player. And I listened. I had no idea what it was, but the first thing I had then, I didn't know it was bebop. It had everybody. It had the entire history of jazz, all the way from the 1930s, the big band era, to to like the current music at the time. And I listened to it. So I had one of the people I had on that CD was Charlie Parker. Bud Powell,
Okay.
Sonny Rollins,
Yes.
Dizzy Gillespie, and
right.
George Benson was on it. He just touched my heart. That's how I got into guitar.
Okay.
Wes Montgomery, both of those guys. And then, but the first time I listened to this music, the first thing I noticed, the rhythm was African. So I began asking, what is this music? It sounds African. Everything that they played on there, the rhythm, everything was from home. I could trace all the rhythms in my country in that music. But then when I listened to the harmonies and the melodies, they seemed to be very, complicated and very progressive. It just. But right away that grabbed my attention. I said, this music is African. I didn't know anything about jazz history, So I fell in love with this CD. I listened to it every day.
And
faithfully.
jazz has its roots in Africa.
Yeah. And then I didn't even know anything about that. It's just a 16-year-old, just passionate.
And then you studied jazz
And then, so I studied.
here in the U.S.
Yeah. And
Where
then
did you go?
I came, years passed, I started traveling internationally playing music, African folk music with bands from Africa, and I toured with some reggae bands. I played all kinds of music. I played with all kinds of bands, and I ended up going to 40 countries around the world playing music. Then I came to the United States the first time with a children's choir that I was directing the band and playing the guitar.
Great.
And so
How did you guys get together, Kevin?
Yeah, we met at a gig, a big band gig.
A big band gig,
Yeah,
okay.
Grand Rapids.
it was his first gig there, and he was subbing for Steve
Talaga.
Yeah, for one of his teachers,
one
actually.
of my jazz
piano
Okay,
teachers.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
And
What do you love about jazz music?
The most powerful thing I love about jazz music, the one important thing for me that I've managed to discover, jazz because I'm a Christian man, and I was able to connect jazz to the Bible.
Okay. In
Bec-
what way?
In a way of creativity, because God is a very creative God. God is a very progressive God. God is a very uniting God, a very open God, very democratic God,
Yeah.
very loving, very forgiving. And jazz is exactly all those things. But the most powerful things I found, it takes great faith to play jazz. Jazz is not for the faint at heart, but the courageous, the
Okay.
people that are
And you have
willing.
to have your heart in it.
Yeah, to go for the unknown, which is faith. And I mean, the Bible says faith is believing the unseen. So in jazz, you get a concept, an idea, and you run with it. You know, like we might meet for 5 seconds. When we're gonna play this, okay? Or let's just play improvise. Okay, what do you have? And then you start with something, a small thing, and then you develop it. And that's exactly how faith.
It can be
What-
very spiritual in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the one very important thing for me that really pulled me into Jesus. I mean, I'm writing a book right now where I've discovered so many things and
Okay,
theories.
what's the name of your book?
My name of the book will be called The Gospel According to Jazz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
I-
where will we be able to get it? On
I will
Amazon?
be, it will be published and I will release it online and everything. I'm hoping that by the end of the summer I'll be done. I've been writing it for almost 2 years.
Okay, okay. You'll have
Yeah.
to come back on time to talk and,
I will.
and talk about
I
that,
will.
that book and everything.
I
You've
will.
had an opportunity to travel a
Yes.
lot
Yes.
around the world,
Yes.
pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. And you too, Kevin?
I've been to just about every continent on Earth,
Oh, yeah.
except
And
Antarctica.
Elgin?
May I say something else too?
Yes, too.
One thing about music is it's universal.
Yes.
It's a universal language. I was in Budapest, Hungary. There are musicians there, they were gypsy musicians. But when you walk up to play something, they don't speak your language, but the music is still universal, no matter what part of the world you're in. So
They relate to
they
it.
relate. You can play no matter what, It's great, yes.
Yes, yes. Music is universal. Okay, what's the next piece you're going to do for us?
Well, we're going to do, I think we're going to do our last and final piece. We're going to do Caravan.
Okay.
The Caravan is by Juan Tizo and Duke Ellington,
Okay.
by the Duke Ellington Band.
And tell us some of the places where people can check you out in the Grand Rapids area and any upcoming events that you have.
Well, our trio is going to perform, this trio that you see here is going to perform at the JW Marriott on April 25th. That's a Saturday. And then
What time?
that's from 7 to 10 p.m. There's no charge. It's, no cover. It's-
JW Marriott
Yeah, the
downtown?
hotel. Yes, downtown.
Uh-huh.
And also, I have another extended band, which has, from anywhere between 5 to 6 to 7 players sometimes, in the band with horns, and Ivan sometimes plays in that band too. We're going to be at One Trick Pony on April 4th. I believe that's a Saturday too, I believe. So April 4th, we'll be playing at One Trick Pony. And I
What
believe
time
that
is that?
starts, I think it starts at 8 o'clock, 8 to 11.
Okay.
And that's right on Fulton Street, 136 Fulton Street East.
Do you have a CD out?
I have plenty of CDs out. You can go online. You can go on Amazon and look up Kevin Jones and 10th World on Amazon, on iTunes, or you can visit my website. I have a website. It's called KevinJonesPercussion.com.
Okay.
And you can find, get updated through, wherever I'm playing, and
Okay,
see my
wonderful.
history, my bio, and
Wonderful.
pictures and
Okay,
videos
great.
and some of the music.
And I know you're a teacher, an instructor. Are you open to going into classrooms and also going into groups and
That's
maybe
what I
even
did.
senior homes?
That's
and
what I did. I've
sharing
done
your
all of
music?
that, and I did a African folktales play today at 2 different schools this morning.
Okay.
Before I came here.
Okay,
so,
you're busy.
Yeah, so I'm quite busy. I teach over at Triumph Music Academy, teach drum lessons and percussion lessons. I teach also at Jazz and Creative Institute, like you mentioned before, down in Kalamazoo. So if you're in the Kalamazoo area, you can look them up, Jazz and Creative Institute. If you're in the Grand Rapids vicinity, I teach 1 day a week at Triumph Music Academy. But I also go into the schools too. I'm in the schools a lot, and that's one of the things I've been doing for the last 20 years.
Okay, wonderful. And is there anything else that you would like to share with us before you leave us? Our time went so fast. We were just enjoying ourselves.
I know. Well, I think that this music is what you're talking about is the spiritual aspect of the music. All the music that derives that has come from Africa, and speaking about this because it's Black History Month, regardless of what type of music, is a connection. There's spirituality to the music, and especially jazz for me touches something deep inside of our souls, and like Ivan was saying, that it's like sometimes you have to have faith to be able to step out on the plank, like you have this plank there, and you have to, is it okay? Because if you just stay there, nothing's going to happen,
Gotta
so
move.
sometimes you have to overcome your fear. You have to have courage. You have to have wisdom too at the same time. So yeah, this music is a very spiritual music, but the most important thing is that it brings people together, and it uplifts people. It grew out, this music grew out of the church.
Yeah.
It grew out of the field hollers, grew out of a spiritual sense. And so that's what we bring. I think that's what I try to bring every time I play.
Well, Kevin Jones, thank you for
Thank you,
uplifting
Archie.
us today,
Okay.
right here
All
on
right.
Time to Talk.
So I'm gonna head on over to the drums.
Okay,
and,
thank you.
because that's where I'm really most comfortable.
Okay.
I'm really more
we'll
comfortable
have you
over
leave
there.
that mic over here.
So
Okay.
I just got to
And
move a few things
You've been watching
around
Time to
here.
Talk, and when Kevin Jones is going to take us out. Kevin Jones and the 10th World Trio. You've been watching Time to Talk. Hopefully, Lord's willing, we'll see you in 2 weeks.